everybody, welcome to Living La Vita Loca podcast. My name is Faz, and your name is...
Sally.
Ah, you're not Rich.
No, I don't have a beard.
Rich doesn't have one at the moment, I think.
Oh, does he
He's
not?
a bit more cleanly shaven than...
There's a beard on the picture of him that I can see on our shelf at the moment.
Yeah, I do like Rich with a beard and his flowing mane, but he has it a bit more kempt at the moment, so, you know, he's... but yeah, you don't have a beard. You're my wife. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Why are you on the podcast? Do you hate video games?
I do hate video games.
Yeah. Yeah, you really do. You hate them with a passion. And you hate me too.
No, I think hate is a strong word. I don't hate video games. I can't do them, and therefore I don't want to play them.
But you could try to do them, surely, a little bit.
Well,
you
I
do
have.
try, don't you? Yeah, I guess
The times that we have tried, we have fallen out, and I don't like it, and it makes me feel stupid, so then I don't play anymore.
It's not meant to make you feel stupid about it. But, so, like, yeah, what is it? Is it that part of it that makes you not like video games then?
Yeah. Also, I don't know, I just get a bit bored.
Yeah, they don't hold your attention really,
No.
do they? Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I did say on a previous podcast about how when we met, like, you were really kind and played some Little Big Planet with me. And,
Yes, I did. I remember that.
Yeah. I even brought my PlayStation 3 around to your flat.
You did.
House,
You did.
even.
You brought it around to my house in
Yeah.
Kirkstall.
Yeah, and you were kind enough to play it with me. So. But you must have liked Little Sack Boy.
Yeah, I don't hate things. I like that game because we were playing together. We weren't playing against each other. So you used to just basically just pull me along.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Like, I do get frustrated when I play with Oscar, our son, on things like Super Mario, and it's like a side scroller, and you can't quite just pull him along. Whereas at least with Sackboy, you can physically pull him along. Even then, though, he's hard. But yeah. Anyway, so we're not talking just randomly about video games. The reason I invited you onto the podcast all the way across from the couch, and we just turned to face each other rather than stare into the abyss and not talk to each other, basically is because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has just dropped its final wave of downloadable content for the Switch, and the one video game that you will tolerate is Mario Kart.
Yes.
Why answer these questions like I'm not a policeman?
I feel like you're interviewing me in like a police station.
Yeah. I mean, I am, but like you're meant to like provide more in-depth
Or
analysis.
I'm in some form of job interview. That's what I feel like.
And that's how you answer the questions.
Yes.
Yes. Are you a human? Yes. Hired. So yeah, can you elaborate a bit more about, rather than just yes, like as in why that's the game that you tolerate rather than everything else that you hate?
I don't know. I think maybe it's because I can do it. Although when I first started it, I couldn't do it. We used to play it on the Wii in that little flat that we had in the gateway. Nita's Wii we had.
Nita's Wii?
Nita's Wii. And I couldn't do it at all until you introduced to me the nunchuck, that you could use the nunchuck to steer, and that revolutionised my gameplay. And then when I realised that I didn't have to use the silly Wii remote to try and steer around the track. Yeah,
the Wii is a terrible console for anything, really. That isn't, like, it's not great. And that's weird, isn't it? Because considering it's meant to be a console that is meant to be accessible for all, actually it's harder to game on because of the silly controller. Like, like it makes it a bit easier, and it was easier for you to have a controller to use.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, it's one of those games that, and we've just kept coming back to it, whatever new console you have bought, you have put some form of Mario Kart on it for us to play.
You put an angry inflection upon whatever console you have bought.
You have bought / traded in all of our belongings for.
No, I've only ever traded in my own belongings, I think. I do have a problem.
But anyway, I don't know, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. And more recently I've enjoyed playing it with our son Oscar. It's something that we can actually do together. And we don't fall out over it. Whereas the times that I've tried to play Yoshi's Crafted World with him, he just gets really cross at me because I can't do it and can't help him, and then we just end up falling out.
Even with the special help.
Even with the special help, mellow mode or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think it's harder with mellow mode. I think it's easier that you're not in a rhythm when you're mellow mode. So you don't play with mellow mode on Mario Kart. You don't need to.
No, but I would say I'm pretty good at it now. Yeah.
Well, you know, like what's your CC? Like, as in, you know, you play 50, 100...
150.
150. Yeah.
What I have discovered recently is that you were holding me back, because when we used to play together, you were clearly so good that it made me bad. And then now I'm playing with Oscar, who granted is 6. I can win every game.
He's a tall 6. He's a tall 6.
I get to win, and that has obviously boosted my confidence.
But like, I mean, that's fine. That's not, you know, I get to crush my son into the ground. So yeah, I mean, I think that probably happened because I think that when somebody is kind of getting first, the CPU, the computer... Oh, sorry, I should explain to Sally what the CPU is. The computer... Yeah. The computer, that they get better to match that level. So, which is pretty clever of it, really. But then that means it's harder for you. So, yeah, it's... Yeah, I can see how that could be difficult for you. And I'm sorry I've caused so many bad memories.
It's alright, it's okay. It's I still married you, so...
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah. And here we are, still playing Mario Kart. So, Deluxe has got 96 tracks on it now. Have you got any favourite characters you like to play with? Any favourite tracks that you like the most out of everything?
I like to be Yoshi.
Yeah.
Recently I've started to change the colour of my Yoshi. I was white Yoshi the other day. I didn't enjoy that.
No, that's weird.
So I've actually just then gone back to green Yoshi, and I just like a standard kart, standard...
You sound literally at the moment like a drug addict.
What's the thing that you fly with?
The glider.
The glider, yeah.
Standard kart, standard glider.
Standard glider.
Yeah. Wheels standard? Or standard blue?
Standard blue.
Standard blue, yeah.
Wheels, yeah.
I feel like, for whatever reason, I can't really come away from the standard
Well,
kart. You get used to handling.
I used to try all sorts of different stuff, but then you once told me that it's just easier with the standard kart. And
I feel like it is, but maybe it isn't.
You put me off motorbikes, and you were right with that.
Motorbikes are fucked. Yeah. They're so hard. Like, they don't balance at all. So maybe I'm not good at Mario Kart, because if I was good at Mario Kart, I could ride a motorbike.
Track wise, I used to absolutely hate Rainbow Road, but recently, again, because I can do it now,
because I can crush my son into the dirt on it,
I do enjoy a Rainbow Road track now.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of tracks, I can't remember what they are, because I don't remember things like that, where you don't just go around in a circle. You start and then end in a different place. I like those ones.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know what the technical term is.
One of the Rainbow Road ones, you do that on.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
A non-lap game.
Non-lap game. Yeah, that's fine. That probably works out okay. Yeah, one of my favourites, which I'll reveal either earlier or later in the pod, is one of those. And I think it's good because, like you say, you get a different part of the track all the time, so you're not bored going round and round. What do you think of the new tour ones, the ones that are in the cities?
I don't love them so much.
Yeah. A bit shit, aren't they?
Well, and then they change halfway through as well, and that's just annoying.
They do that.
Yeah, they've got those like arrows that change, and that confuses me.
That's like a weird mix of laps / non-laps, but not the good kind.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. That's fine. So, do you think that you enjoyed playing Mario Kart on the Wii with the nunchuck more? Or do you think you like playing Mario Kart more now? Like, do you think like you liked it when you were learning Mario Kart, or do you think?
No, I think I enjoy it more now on the Switch.
Yeah.
What I did not like playing it on that other thing that we had.
The Wii U.
The Wii U. Didn't like playing it on that.
What? Because of the massive controller.
Yeah.
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 See, this is one of my questions. That is about the Wii U. Like, so the Mario Kart 8 now, was on the Wii U, and so like basically all they've done is port it over to the Switch, port means to change consoles with a game.
Right, thank you.
There you go. Okay. But then they added more tracks, and they added a couple more, and they added battle mode into it and stuff. So, like Mario Kart 8 has sold 57 million copies on the Switch, and it sold 8 million copies on the Wii U, and that makes it like if you combine those two things, it's like the 5th best selling game ever of all time. But the Wii U, everyone hated the Wii U, and
the graphics are better on the Switch, a lot better.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that happens with consoles. So they just get.
How many years ago was it that we had that Wii U?
That's true. There we go. Yeah, that's a good, because it came out in 2014 on the Wii U.
Oh gosh, that's a long time.
I know, we're getting old as fuck now. That is 9 years ago. Like, how long have we been together? Too long, clearly, or not? So
we got married in 2014.
Yeah. And I think, did I buy a Wii U just after we got married? Maybe in celebration of our nuptials. Get a Wii U. But yeah, the Wii U's really, like, everyone hates the Wii U, and it's sad because a lot of good games came from the Wii U onto the Switch, and everyone's like, oh, the Switch is amazing, and I'm like, well, the Wii U kind of gave birth to those games. But yeah, have you got any other video gaming tips or bits or anything at all that you want to share while you're on a podcast about video games? The thing that I
used to play some video games when I was little.
Yeah, okay, good.
We had a PC in
Retro
our house.
Gaming.
We didn't have any of those plug-in consoles. We had a PC in our house.
Just for the record, Sally did a weird hand movement there for plug-in consoles. I don't know what that was there. It was like a wavy...
Can I tell you, I was pointing at the shelf where you have multiple consoles plugged in that our 2-year-old keeps pulling off the shelf when they're hanging down. That's what I was pointing at.
You know, a PC plugs in, right? You know, there's a plug for a PC also. So, give me a couple of memories from your PC gaming days.
We used to play something called Commander Keen.
Okay, yeah. Don't know it, but might be...
it was a little spaceman. There was some green aliens. You shoot them. That's all I remember that.
Awesome, good.
We used to play Winter Olympics. I want to say like 1986 or 1988 or something like that.
It would, probably... Would it be... I don't know if they're in the same cycle as the normal Olympics or not. Was it 1990
I don't
maybe?
Know. But yeah, we used to play Winter Olympics. Ski jump was my favourite with the joystick.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, playing with the joysticks makes everything more fun.
Yeah. That was pretty much it, really. That's all I remember.
Yeah, you played golf, didn't you?
Oh, we had PGA Tour golf, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we used to play
that was my dad's game, really, but...
But we used to sneak on when Mark wasn't looking. Play some golf.
I liked it. I think you could change it to like a snowy day with an orange ball. I used to do that. Yeah.
Oh, really? I don't know that. All right, okay. Maybe I missed a feature. Well, thank you for your time. You never have to come on the podcast ever again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We're back. I have a Rich with me. The Rich.
The Rich.
The Rich. Is that better than his Royal Richness?
I don't know. I could get used to it.
The Rich.
This is the Rich.
The Rich and the Famous. Can leave it. That was a painful 30 minutes I just spent with my wife.
Oh, come on.
No. She fucking hates video games so much. She just like... I can see her skin crawl when she looks at me, and associates.
Why won't you grow up fast?
Just associates it with video gaming. It was that conversation was difficult for both of us.
Does she know you think that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. No, it's like I didn't mean difficult as in like, like it was fine. It was lovely and polite, but I could see like her ebbing away. Like this.
Is she going to listen to this bit?
I don't think she's going to listen to any bit. I genuinely think that Sally could not give any fucks about what this podcast is trying to achieve or anything like that. So,
well, if you are catching this bit, hi.
We're back in our normal setting, and we're going to carry on our cascade about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. How have you been? I haven't seen you since I flogged away a pub quiz on our behalf.
Still haunted by that half point.
I think about it regularly. I'm so bad at like living down like minor mistakes in my life, like especially things that it's like, you know, where you could have conquered somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, we still managed to beat those other teams, and if nothing else, I've now bought socks in a pub.
Yeah,
so that's good.
That's important. Have you
good?
Were they for you or were they for?
No, for me.
Oh yeah. Have you had them on yet?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah,
comfy.
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
they're all right. Yeah, nice new sock comfort levels.
I feel like we have a lot of
not bobbly yet.
A lot of Rich's sock chat on this podcast.
Oh God, we do. What is wrong with us?
I'm sure there's a bit of like wanking to a sock on one episode. I can't remember now. So it's just
Or did we cut that?
It's back in.
It's here now.
Essential content because we don't edit anymore, so it's fine. We're on the hot drinks tonight, aren't we?
I've got hot chocolate on the go.
Yeah, that's the
that's
like it's stormy weather out there.
It's awful.
We are very like within like a 4-week period we've crept from, was it when Aaron was on and we were just getting drunk on like decadent beers, to the old man sits and talks about socks and tea. So it's like,
good. I could go with that.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you know, whatever.
Sock and tea cast.
So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I feel like I kind of dragged you into this pod a little bit.
Right.
Like that's just probably my own like.
No, you did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's not paranoia.
No, that's okay. That's fine. So why did I have to do that, or why did I do that? I don't know. Like, as in,
I don't know. Why did you do that? I mean, we've just had the new tracks and all that kind of stuff. But personally, like, I was checking. I've played on my Switch. It reckons I've played Mario Kart 8 for 15 hours or more.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of those ones that myself and my wife will quite often like dip in and, you know, do a couple of cups, and then that's that.
Yeah.
And we've kept up with the new tracks. I don't know how or why we've spent over 15 hours on it. And because I had a bit of a breakthrough because I was trying to, like, we were playing the tracks over the weekend, and I was trying to dissect how I feel about Mario Kart, because it would never have been on my radar to talk about.
Okay.
Really?
That's interesting.
And I had a bit of a breakthrough because I realised that, like, I enjoy it while I'm playing it. I find it infuriating because, like, for me, you know, especially with arcade leanings and stuff like that, like, you got to have skill, right? And if that's getting balanced out with luck, that's where it starts to annoy me. And Mario Kart is like the quintessential level playing field of skill being balanced out with like awful luck.
It is, yeah. And it's definitely there for parity, like, in some respect, anyway.
And I totally understand that is the aim, and that's why it's doing it. But the flip side is, it really annoys me.
Do you not think that that's a good thing about Mario Kart because of the fact that you can be literally any age, like pretty much, like, you know, my 2-year-old plays Mario Kart, kind of, like, as in, you know, and access it, and then I can be 36-ish nearly, and I can access it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's got a place, right? And especially this version of it where you've got the assist features, you know, like auto accelerate and the steering and stuff like that can be automated, and that's all cool. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be playing video games on my own.
Yeah.
And if I am going to play them, then sure, Mario Kart can scratch that itch sometimes. But it's one of those things. I realised I have the same relationship with it as I do KFC.
Okay.
Because I enjoy it at the time, but ultimately I can't ever remember any of it afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like,
KFC is so like that, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's a weird one.
I pine for KFC. I drive past KFC all the time, and then I get a KFC, and I'll eat as much KFC as I possibly can. Yeah. I could eat like 3, like, you know, Zinger burgers probably, I reckon, if at a push. And I'd still probably like, I think I'm still hungry, and I think I don't taste anything.
Yeah, it's just kind of...
I'm also satisfied in a weird way.
It's gone straight over my head. And it's one of those weird ones where if you sat me down, the only tracks... Well, you have sat me down, actually. The only tracks I can remember... Now I'm here.
I brought you to the table.
Literally. Literally brought me to the table. But I can remember some of the tracks from the N64 game.
So start there then. So let's wheel this all the way back, because I mean, I think
that's it. That's my point. Like that's all weird. I can remember. Of them, and I've played quite a few of them. I've played like 3 or 4, maybe even more of them.
Okay.
And I can't fucking remember any of them.
Yeah.
Like they just happen to me. and it just and it doesn't ever really stay with me. But I don't actively hate it at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I am a little bit shocked, I think, that, and we're going to get into it quite a bit of detail here, but that you don't seem to have an affinity for something that I'd say is a quintessential Nintendo franchise. Not that I'm saying that you're a Nintendo bitch or anything like that, but certainly, you know, well, maybe I'm not sure. I don't know. Just I feel like, you know, this is going to be one of those podcasts where I'm really heavy positive on something, and you're just a bit like, you know, which is kind of like what it is.
Probably exactly how it's going to go. Spoiler alert!
Yeah, but it's okay to talk about that up front, because, you know, that then we won't get into a cat and mouse sort of, you know, about the situation. Like,
how do you feel about that?
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think that I have real strong feelings for it, but I can understand what you're saying. Like, as in, it could just be it could pass you by. It can pass the time by. It's fine. Like, as in, I get that. But for me, there's so much more to it than that. And I haven't had a strong history with Nintendo, as I've spoken about on the podcast before. And, for example, I own, like, the first Nintendo I owned was a Wii. Like, as in, which was the worst console in the world. Like, as in, like, so it was hardly, like, you know, the best introduction you could have to owning. I mean, I'd played on Nintendo before then, obviously. But, so, I mean, I guess that I string a lot of memories together for Mario Kart, like, as in back to my university days. That is, and like you say, you said about playing it by yourself. Like, I rarely ever played Mario Kart by myself to start off with. It usually be 3 or 4 of us. I mean, during third year of university, like, we lived. Oh, it was the second. Yeah, third year of university, we lived pretty much on campus. I'm talking like 5 minutes walk away from being on campus, and probably 15 minutes maximum away from our chemistry, you know, building that we used to do our lectures in, or our labs. And 4 of us, we would, between lectures for an hour, literally an hour, so you'd only get about half an hour of Mario Kart in, we would go back to our house and play half an hour of Mario Kart, because we were just like so into battling each other on Mario Kart, like, and just couldn't wait to get that next hit of who was going to beat the shit out of each other. Like, you know, let's just get a 4-track cup in, do you know what I mean? Like, and it took over our lives for probably about a 3 or 4 month period towards the end of our third year of university, where everything we did would revolve around Mario Kart. It just sounds like weird, but I mean, it would just, like, it used to be a Saturday night and we would be getting ready to go out for a night out, but we probably wouldn't go for our night out till like 11 p.m, which nowadays makes my stomach turn. But leading up to that, we'd probably watch some shitty. We would be drinking, like watching like Strictly Come Dancing, like do you know what I mean? Like, oh, like something like that. And then we'd watch. I remember there was something on television that was Dale Winton. So for all the people in the United Kingdom, Dale Winton, you'll know Dale Winton. For everybody else ever out there, Dale Winton is the most camp overacted sort of, I guess, TV show host that you could have.
Light entertainment.
Yes,
host.
Lovely chap, like really fun and everything. But like really bronze, like brown tan skin with it, like it's in, you know, those kind of people. And but he used to host a TV show that was very short lived on the BBC called was it called Bring on the Wall or The Wall? I think it was called
The Wall.
The Wall. And there's now another game show called The Wall. Now BBC forgot about it so much. They were like 10 years later they were like, I was going to put another one on called The Wall because it was so ill thought of, and celebrities would have to jump through shapes made from a big giant foam wall.
That one.
Exactly. Yeah. See, you're thinking about a different one. So it was like you would have really, I would say, sometimes grotesquely overweight celebrities jumping through a foam wall with shapes in it into a swimming pool, and you had to make the shapes. And but that was fantastic television to watch when you were getting pissed. Like, you were just off your face drunk. And then we'd just play, and that would be it. We'd play a 16 or, sort of 24 track Mario Kart Cup before we went out. Just to really, it's almost like, it was like cocaine, but like for a gamer, like as in just sort of like to get that hit, just like really, like get that competitive edge of who's going to get a girl tonight and who's going to win the cup, who's going to win the mushroom cup as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like that feeling. So I've got those strong memories of Mario Kart Wii as a 20-year-old. You know, it's like for a game that's ostensibly looks like it's for a 5-year-old, really, not a 6-year-old.
Yeah, you see, I definitely don't have that because it was while I was at uni that I got rid of my GameCube and got an Xbox 360. So a lot of the stuff that we ended up doing, like in the house and the house next door, because there was a group of about 9 of us across 2 houses.
Yeah,
would be like Call of Duty, Left 4 Dead, Lips, and all that kind of stuff. And weirdly enough, Virtua Tennis.
But that's kind of a similar sort of feel, isn't it?
But so there would still be that kind of competitive element. But it's definitely, I have those kinds of memories, but for a slightly later, or maybe not even later actually, just a different console and setup. So most of my memories when it comes to Mario Kart are from the N64 days and playing with people like after school and stuff like that. And even then, not that much, really. And so I had this massive gap, and it was only really on the Game Boy Advance would be the only kind of blip on the radar in that entire period between the N64 and up to about Mario Kart 7, I think, on the 3DS.
DS, I had that as well,
And, Mario Kart on the Game Boy Advance, to all intents and purposes, was the N64 version, really. I looked at it the other day and it looks and feels quite similar.
Yeah.
It's not a carbon copy, but so I think I've definitely just not even deliberately ignored it. It just hasn't been a part of my life. And I think Double Dash, we mucked about with a couple of times. We might have rented it when I was around someone's house or something. I couldn't remember anything about it. When I was, believe it or not, I did prepare for this podcast.
No, I do believe you.
I can't remember anything about it except being able to switch between the 2 people.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, literally it.
It's funny, isn't it? Because, I mean, so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch is, slotted in one, the top 10 selling games of all time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I guess it shipped with the Switch in certain times, because there was, I think it was one of the ones that shipped with the Switch, wasn't it? Because it made sense, because actually the first game came out for the Wii U, as me and Sally discussed on our ill-fated 13 minutes previously. And I always thought that what I want to get to today really is this the best Mario Kart? Will they do another Mario Kart when the next Switch comes out? Or, I mean, which... It feels like they would, because of the amount of sales they would get from it. It feels like they wouldn't do this one again because they've already ported it once from a previous console. And they've just added another 48 tracks to this over the last 2 years to make it the deluxe version. That's in. So
it's a good question, though, isn't it?
It's got 96 tracks on there.
Does it have a kind? Sorry, I know. Totally interrupted you.
That's okay. It's fine. No, so ask away.
Does that feel then like it's kind of got that Smash Bros. Ultimate problem, where it feels like it feels like we've peaked somehow? Where the hell do you go from here? Because the roster on Smash Bros. Ultimate, sure, there will always be other characters that people will point at and go, oh, but could we have them? Could we have them? But you kind of feel like it's done now. It needs a break.
Well, that's just so weird, isn't it? Because that is, and I've been thinking about this weekend, really, in terms of just the quintessential Nintendo, I guess, the franchises that they've got, your Zeldas, your Mario Kart, your Super Marios, and like you say, in terms of I guess those sort of core ones, Smash Brothers, there's a handful more. But I'm thinking, where do they go next with all these? Because they've just released Super Mario Wonder, and that is in. I can imagine they maybe do like I mean, you're always going to get another Mario Odyssey sort of Galaxy game. That's fine, but I mean, it feels like Zelda. You'd have to build another one, but then they've just been called two of the best games ever made, and how are you going to top them? How are you going to top the roster on Smash Bros? And how are you going to top the amount of content that there is on this Mario Kart? And if you look at the way that this game is designed, especially with all the new tracks and things, there's so much there. It's brilliant, but there's some samey stuff as well. And it's almost like, and it feels like they've just taken... And one of the best things about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think, that keeps it probably fresh, really, is the fact that you've got the anti-gravity parts of the tracks. Adding verticality to Mario Kart, and as you'll learn as I... take you on a journey through my favourite tracks.
Into the seminar.
Favourite tracks and worst tracks. That is in verticality is really important to give that variety to a Mario Kart track. I think.
So before we get into all that, a thought occurs with the whole, where do you go from Smash Bros and Zelda and Mario Kart in this case? The critical bit that we're overlooking here is the fact that it's Nintendo. And if there's one company who would put out something like Smash Bros. Ultimate and then give it a couple of years and go, you know what, let's do Smash Bros. But different.
Ultimate.
I would totally imagine, to go back to Zelda, right? That's a really good example. So, whenever everybody points at the Zelda game and goes, oh my God, it's like one of the best games ever, Nintendo look at it and go, yeah, and then just do a different thing.
Yeah.
They change the art style. I wouldn't be surprised if instead of something following on from Tears of the Kingdom or whatever up to now, they do Wind Waker 2.
Yeah.
Or
that
something
feels like
that, and go cel-shaded again, or, go 2D, go back to some of the sort of SNES vibes or something like that. I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to just go, okay, yeah, we've put out some really, really good stuff. The trick now is to not build on that and just start again somehow. And I can't help but wonder if maybe, say, instead of Mario Kart 9, they go, fuck it, let's actually do an F-Zero GX follow-up.
Yeah.
Please, Nintendo.
But that would be
Sega.
That would make so much more sense, especially with them just dropping F-Zero 99 and things and just testing the water a little bit. And then also in this...
And the tracks that are there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And,
so...
Yeah. Anyway.
No, but I just think there's definitely something to the thinking around, especially the transfer between, and this is why it's relevant to this, that the Wii U and the Switch was that they just brought over Smash Bros, Super Mario 3D World, this, and Zelda. They just brought them over and just ported them, and they were like, because no one bought a Wii U, but then all of a sudden, you sell 8 million copies of this on a Wii U, but you sell 57 million on a Switch. But it was pretty much initially the same game, isn't it?
But I guess that explains the extra tracks, doesn't it? Because at least this way they can flex the sort of Switch muscles a little bit.
Yeah,
such as they are.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You look at it and it's not flexing a lot. Do you know what I mean?
It's really not.
You look at some of the tracks that they've just done, even in this recent release this week of completing the DLC. One track I'll talk about on there, which is one of my favourite all time. Is it a better version than the one that was on the Wii? Yeah, maybe. Graphically, it doesn't look that much different, really.
Fair enough.
Funnily enough, and it probably handles the same. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to sort of drag this down into some sort of conversation where I'm like, oh, Nintendo's done or anything. Clearly it isn't.
Completed it.
But it's just funny to see them at a crossroad in my head where I'm like, right, what are they now going to do next? But I also feel that about video gaming in a whole as well. Because we keep on talking about, it's not just Nintendo's problem. You talk about everything getting 6 sequels, or Halo 6 or Spider-Man 2, the PS5 sort of that. Everyone bought a PS5 for Spider-Man 2, and it's just like,
and even then it's the second or third Spider-Man.
We're hanging around for exactly. We're hanging around for a second iteration of. I mean, it's probably the film's fault, really, but it's just how many Spider-Man games have there been in the last 20 years? Probably 25, 30 Spider-Man games in the last 20 years. It's just and people still want it. So I guess it's just our problem. We've got the problem. And speaking of which, so we've both been to Saw Thumb Retro Gaming Shop in York this last week, both separately. I took my son, and this speaks to who I am as a person. the only thing we came away with was an Ivysaur plush. Because it's so hard to shop with a 6-year-old round a treasure cove of gaming, and like almost like feels like a library, like as in you can't like stop touching things, stop it, it's like, like it's just, and him asking questions that you don't quite know the answer to, but then, like what's that, Daddy? I don't know.
What is a Resident Evil?
Yeah, but in Japanese, and it's just, but what an incredible shop that is, and what a service they do to the retro gaming industry, and even just the general gaming industry, and I can't recommend going there enough. And I'd like to be able to, not that I don't love spending time with my son, I had a brilliant time in York with my son, but if I was going to go just for me, like as in as a treat, you could, 3 or 4 hours I reckon I could be just walking around a shop that's probably 50 square feet.
It's not big.
It's very vertical. Like
it is, yeah.
I saw like the Metal Gear, the original Metal Gear for the NES, or was it that they'd brought over from Japan when they went to do their buying trip, and it was sat there just on a pile of other games right at the top, like £110, just sat there, and I was like, this looks so special. How was your trip?
It was good. I was unfortunately stuck in a queue behind a guy that was offloading enough stuff that he walked away with a couple £100 worth of dollars. But
Din dollars.
But yeah, no, I was offloading a couple of bits that I'd previously bought in the place, like on a whim, and swiftly realised that they weren't quite going to be my cup of tea.
Oh, right,
okay. Didn't come away with bags of cash, but I did manage to pick up a copy of Baku Baku Animal for the Sega Saturn.
Don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You're smiling at me.
Oh, you're gonna learn.
Would you? Oh no. Right. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, what's my Baku Baku is your Baku Baku. So Baku Baku to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I'm probably going to talk the most about this, I guess, really. But then obviously you said you played this weekend a little bit with Fiona.
Yep.
And I guess that in terms of looking at what is there on the DLC and the tracks and things, do you feel like it is an appropriate amount to pay? I think it's £22.50, maybe, if you want to buy it outright, or if you pay for Nintendo Switch Online, which is about £19 a year, to kind of have the amount of content you got and what you got in that content?
So we paid for it because we don't have Switch Online.
Yep.
Because they've been kind of drip feeding them over time, I had forgotten how much we paid for it. I don't necessarily feel hard done by, but as I sit here right now, I can only remember that there is a track from the mobile version set in Madrid, and there is a track involving like a piranha cove or something like that. And the only reason I remember that one is because the track changes on the last lap, but they signpost the first corner really fucking badly, and it cost me the race, and I was livid.
Yeah. So let's get into that a little bit then. So the tour tracks that are on there, that there are, I think, 12 or 13 of in the end. So you're talking about 48 extra tracks, and 12 or 13 of them end up being tour tracks, and all of them change halfway through the race.
Yeah.
And most of the time they change to go back on yourself on the third lap, pretty much. So Paris Promenade, Amsterdam, whatever that is, Berlin Byways, that changes quite drastically, and you kind of get a bit lost. Sydney Sprint. Oh, sorry, I should say at this point, the 15 hours that you put into Mario Kart just over a lifetime, I've put in this week.
Right.
Since Thursday, I've played about 15 hours of Mario Kart.
just quickly then, because like the tour tracks, correct me if I'm wrong, are from a mobile game, and all that kind of stuff. But the Piranha one was not
a new track,
but it's still the same thing. So perhaps is that maybe a way that the series could go in the future, where the tracks will change as you go? Because
there's only about 2 or 3 newish tracks where that's happened, where they've kind of put in a little bit of an extra change or difference. So yeah, there's not many that they've done that with that are outside the tour tracks. So it is a possibility. I would have a preference for that not to be the case.
That's fair.
Although it's one of those things, though, that maybe I'd be more interested if it changed into one of 3 or 4 different ways. That is in for different races or something that I'm thinking. Or
that's
do you know what I mean? They kind of flip it where it's like, you know, a bit of a crazy sort of world where you all, you know, it's kind of like the same distance, but so you all get the same fair chance to win the race, but you can all go different ways. That'd be maybe a different.
I mean, that would tie in with Mario Wonder.
Yes, it would.
Not?
Yeah,
Quite nicely.
yeah.
Call me Nintendo.
Quick, we've got an IP. But yeah, so the tour tracks, I reappraised them this weekend because I've not really played them that much since I've had the DLC, because I was a bit put off by the way that they move. They're serviceable enough, they're okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in actually, they pay enough attention to the detail of the cities that they're in. But some, I'm going to be honest, like, and this isn't Nintendo's fault or Mario Kart's fault. This is the major cities' fault, or maybe it is their fault for picking them. But some of them are just bland. Like, as in, so.
Oh, it's not like they were trying to make like Bracknell or whatever.
But yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. Some sort of like
Watford
GTA Watford vibe with Mario Kart. It would make sense to, you know, like sort of have a bit more of a, you know, bit of edge.
Mario Kart Slough.
Milton Keynes, where they've got all those roundabouts, like, but like, you know, like, I'm just being, I guess, honest. It's like, it's taking the Madrid one for example. I think it's like the biggest thing you see in Madrid is kind of like, it kind of puts you through the football stadium and stuff.
Oh, it does, yeah.
And they're doing that really well. But then I'm like, everywhere's got a football stadium. Do you know what I mean? I think they do that in Bangkok as well. Like, but like, and then like in the LA one, they put you through. I think it's the Dodgers, is that who they? Someone's going to go mental at me right now. Like, I'm not a baseball guy, but they put them through the baseball stadium of LA, and that's pretty cool because you fly through that and glide through it. So they've done a really good job of making them feel effectively like the place that you're in, and seeing a couple of sites and things. And actually, I don't mind that it changes the track so much, but the ones that change a little bit more, like the New York one, rather than just going back on yourself, is good. Yeah. Whereas the ones in Amsterdam and Paris, you literally just go back on the lap you're on, and it's a bit confusing because you drive past like your compares. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you get hit by Bullet Bill, and you're like, "What the fuck? Where'd that come from?" Like, as in, so it's like a blue shell from nowhere. Obviously, if you're first, that is, but like, you know, like it's they're okay, but considering that makes up a quarter of the content that you get, then actually I'm a bit like, it's all right, it's fine. And then I'd say about half of the tracks are probably old tracks that they have basically just put a new sort of modern shiny twist on, and then they've probably added I'd say another quarter of the tracks that are new tracks that they've added in. I think the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tracks, the new tracks that weren't in any other iteration of Mario Kart, are probably the best ones that are actually on Mario Kart 8, a lot of them. Right. So I'll get into that list in a little while. But what I wanted to talk about with Mario Kart as well was just how simple the mechanics are and how accessible it is as a game. Like, so I know you said that there's a modicum of luck, and you know, like in terms of
sure. You tell yourself that.
Okay, so I don't mind that it drags you back into the race every so often. So I have played all 96 tracks this weekend. I played on a hard CPU on 150cc. 200cc is too much for anybody. Yeah. That 200cc is not fun. I don't care what you say. It's not built to handle round those corners with 200cc. You can tell the game wasn't built to have that. They just tagged it on, and it's like, whereas 150cc is meant to be like, you know, the fast version. So I played on 150cc hard CPU, and the hard CPU definitely drags you back into the race more. So I expected to be able to win as many races as I possibly could. I'm going to give you my results of the races that I've tracked this weekend. So I did it in 24 track cups because after doing the first 24 tracks, I realised that I could not possibly do 48 in one sitting. It just felt like too much. It was too much Mario Kart to ingest.
Your retinas.
I got such a headache. Such a fucking headache. It's all like that box noise over and over. So first 24 tracks, I got 323 points out of a possible 360.
Right.
And Birdo was on 287 points, my nearest competitor. So I didn't win every race, clearly. That I've got a couple of quotes that I've written down for things that happened during the weekend. One of the quotes was, "Fuck off, Birdo, you gonk-nosed twat."
Yep, that's fair.
So, that came from the first 24 tracks.
I thought you were going to say that came from the heart.
It really did.
Suppose,
yeah, it did. Second set of tracks then, so 25 to 48, 330 points. So a little bit better. Morton, 280. Who the fuck, or what the fuck is a Morton? I don't understand. He's one of Bowser's children, is he? He's the little grey one, I think he is.
Don't know about children or if it's an underling of some kind.
The thing is...
Were they from the SNES, Mario World or something like that?
Yeah,
or,
probably.
Yeah.
No one ever talks about it, but Bowser has kids. Now, who's Bowser's first wife? Oh, is his wife still around and he's just trying to get with Peach all the time? That's what I want to see in the second Mario movie. Bowser's ex-wife turn up and kick everyone.
Dating situation.
I'd love that shit. Next one's 325 points out of 360. The Villager from
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, came at me strong. As in 290 points she got with a lovely little pink fluffy hair that, giving me shit. And then the second one, the last one even, 73 to 96, with 322 points out of 360. And Larry, who is also, I think, a Bowser child or a Bowser affiliate.
Bowser adjacent.
Yeah, came strong at me with 291 points. In fact, the nearest competitor out of all, by 1 point. So, so it just shows you that with hard CPU and being a veteran Mario Karter? Mario Kart. That's the next one. Mario Karter. I still couldn't get past that parity that the game throws at you, where it's have a blue shell, I will just mess with you a little bit. Another quote that I've got is, "Green shell, what even are you?" That is in, to be fair, that's I guess that was me throwing. I don't understand green shells. They just don't help you. They constantly hinder you. You get hit by your own green shell all the time. You play on Rainbow Road. You can't throw it at anybody because it just fucking goes off the edge of Rainbow Road.
Fire it backwards.
But yeah, well, that's what
fire it and hope.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing you can do. You've just got to throw it backwards. And hope it just bounces off a wall behind you and hit you in the arse or something like that, which definitely always happens. And another quote was, so at one point, I did it in 24 track cups. One of them I split into 16, and then I let Sally and Oscar play with me.
That's very nice.
Yeah, I know. It was very. Yeah, well, it was a big undertaking over the weekend. I had to see my family at some point,
Yeah.
So I had to let them in. And Oscar, at one point, I quote, "If anyone even whacks me off, I'll be furious." Me and Sally were dying.
Yeah. That's fair.
So if anything, it gives you these golden nuggets of joy in your life.
Look forward to listening to this back when you're older.
So another old memory of mine was that I once beat England centre-back and erstwhile captain, not erstwhile, I'm going to use the word, that's not what it is, but I'm going to use it. I always use words that I'm not meant to use. John Terry, his nephew, beat him on Mario Kart once. Nice. So we should have spent more time teaching him how to play fucking Mario Kart and not how to play football, if you ask me. So good one, John Terry. What other little bits? The Banana Cup, absolute pile of shite. The tracks that are in the Banana Cup, that single cup is made up of the worst tracks. I'm trying to think the ones that are on there. Donut Plains 3, which makes it onto my tracks that can go die in a hole list. From the whole of the Mario Kart 8 experience. That's from the SNES, and that's a shit track. And there's a couple more in there as well. Avoid the Banana Cup. Avoid the bananas, avoid the Banana Cup. Nice. Lightning Cup actively hates me. Grumble Volcano. I don't understand with Grumble Volcano. It's halfway through the track, so you're talking the second lap, parts of it start to fall away, which you're okay, fair enough, that's fine, it's quite fun and different, but it does it when you land on the track and then you just hit a brick wall and then you're oh great, thanks very much, thanks for just making this part of the game inaccessible to me. I don't understand. The one thing that does annoy me sometimes with Mario Kart is that you should feel, like we've talked about with Burnout and things like that before, and Need for Speed, you should be able to kind of just bounce off the walls and carry on. And you can to an extent, but if you hit a wall, an angle where you're just against that wall, like if you don't have the game help on, which, you know, like as in most, I guess, adults wouldn't, you are like, you have to reverse to get away from that wall, or you have to try and just accelerate into the wall at an angle for longer. And it's just like, it just doesn't feel like the kind of game that it should be having to do that. Yeah. So sometimes you do get snagged away, and that's one of those times on Grumble Volcano. So other tracks that I hate and can die in a hole, Piranha Plant Highway, and probably the new Piranha Cove as well. Anything to do with the snapping piranhas. Like Piranha Plant Highway, like that's a 3DS one. Just going down on the Mario pipes and stuff.
Is that the one that's kind of like water slides?
Yeah, and you just get pushed around some really shitty corners. Like, as in, so most of my problems are all these tracks pretty much have shitty corners. I haven't put any boring, dry tracks on here because I feel like they are just in a different sort of section. I feel like the Mario Kart Tour and the kind of generic Mario circuits, Daisy circuits and stuff.
The ones like actual raceways. Yeah.
Speaking of which, one thing that does change on this one is Peach's Gardens. So that was added as a DLC one, and that does, as a third lap, create a brand new lap. So I know I've just remembered that now from our previous conversation about, you know, things that change. And actually, it's quite good that even though they brought back an old track, the first two laps follow.
With it.
Yeah, and then the third lap, although it did fuck me over big time. Like, isn't it? Yeah, that was one of those ones where I finished like sixth, and I'm like, you ruined my fucking score, Larry. So, what else can go and die in a ditch? Rainbow Road SNES, like, so the old version of the SNES. Boo Lake, the Game Boy Advance Boo Lake, again, sharp corners and stuff. Just doesn't flow. It's just, why are you making me feel bad for playing this game? And then I did put a tour track on this, the Berlin Byways, because that felt like a really inaccessible to a track where it was just like, it wasn't as fun as the other ones. That felt pretty difficult, if I'm going to be honest. Like, as in, so there was, it's dressed up quite nice. It's all nice and sunny. You go around some gardens and things, but you can turn it very wrong in that and end up like going round and round and be like, actually, I'm going the wrong way, and it's like screwing me over. So, right, okay, I'm coming on to my best tracks. I need you to help me make a decision here. How many have I got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 tracks, too many.
Right.
We're going to get this down to 5.
Okay, well, I can help you straight off the bat.
Excellent.
By cheating.
Do it.
You've got the 2 F-Zero tracks on there.
Yeah.
They're not Mario Kart tracks. Like, they've been adapted, I'll grant you.
But the big blue one is nothing like the F-Zero track.
But still. And also, I think you should take Mute City off because they made the soundtrack very saxophone heavy and it hurts.
I like Big Blue more than Mute City on the new ones.
They both need to come off that list.
I can't believe you're doing this to me.
No,
thank you for helping,
if you're getting it down to 5, that's an easy 2.
That's fine. So let me tell you what the current shortlist is. Shy Guy Falls, that's a new one. Right. Excellent verticality. Mount Wario.
Never.
Huh?
I will never Mount Wario.
So confused there. Brilliant. Mute City, F-Zero, which you've just said it can't have it. Baby Park. So I include this one, Baby Park. It's for the GameCube, but this version of the Baby Park where it's all anti-gravity, and very clever of them to do that because you're spinning around a tiny little circuit in an oval shape. But because you're all anti-gravity and all bumping off each other at very quick speeds, everyone's just kind of speeding up at all times. So you almost need to be an absolute dickhead badger and just like get into someone's side constantly and get speed off them, and that's really fun. That's what Mario Kart should be about. It's about fucking other people over, whether it's a CPU or a friend or a wife. It's all about vengeance. DK Mountain. That's a GameCube one, so I'm going to be honest. DK Mountain's going in the top 5. There's no way that's going to be not in there. So that's where
that one where you end up going through the barrel cannon and like gliding up towards the volcano type thing.
Exactly. And then
I actually remember that.
Yeah, well done. And then you snake your way down the hill. And if someone said to me I had to be in a Mario Kart World Championship, and I'm really aggrieved because I actually missed out on the European ones that came around recently, because I was just not in sync with the time that they should have been at. So who's playing at 6 p.m. on a Friday? I'm like, that sounds like a great idea, but I've got 2 children to put to bed, young man, like a young Mario Kart making tournament man. I can't just be like willy-nilly playing fucking Mario Kart with someone in Dortmund. But yeah, DK Mountain, that would be the one if I was going to play in a World Championship or something, because I have the feel for that track so much, and it was actually still proven that even on this, so that's just been added on this last leg of the downloadable content, and I'm really glad it was. But that's proven by, I was playing with Sally and Oscar the other day, and I think I had like 4 blue shells, and I still won by an absolute country mile. You just get a track sometimes where you just know exactly how to do the drift, and if you know how to do the drift, it's like you're perfect. DK Snowboard Cross, that's from the Wii, and again, that's a downhill track on snow. But that is a lap track, but it is mostly downhill. Melody, and that's got a cannon fire in it as well. Basically, anything with Donkey Kong and cannons, it's all good. Melody Motorway, that's a 3DS one. Do you remember that from the 3DS, where you go down, you can drift down the pianos and it makes the noise of the pianos and xylophones?
Don't remember it from the 3DS, but I do remember it from Mario Kart 8.
Okay, fair enough.
Happily.
Yeah, cool, good.
Yeah.
Rainbow Road N64, that's the best Classic. Rainbow Road that's actually on there. I think there's 5 Rainbow Roads.
Tell you what, I checked my stats and it said, like, your favourite course is Rainbow Road. It's like, well, fuck off. Statistically, it has to be, doesn't it?
5 Rainbow Roads. Definitely the best Rainbow Road that is on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is Rainbow Road N64. So a new one, Ice Ice Outpost. I don't think this is going to make it into the top 5, but it's quite a good one. It's a Toad-centric track, and you actually have 2 chasing, almost like a log flume again. You've got a yellow track and a green track, and they chase each other around in an icy sort of Arctic sort of backdrop. And at that point, I want to say as well, like, one thing that is amazing about Mario Kart is the backgrounds. Like, if you want to live in a Nintendo world and you want to live in, like, it's not just Mario centric, but if you want to live in a Mario world and whilst you're performing, racing functions in front of it, it is perfect. Like, there's so much going on, and I can see that the distraction when Oscar's playing, when he's just kind of drifting around.
Sensory overload.
Yeah, it's like, there's a train above Rainbow Road. That's the N64 version. I'm like, it's very pretty, son. You're right. You're right. Well done.
Focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, no, be better. Be stronger. Ribbon Road from the Game Boy Advance version. That's really fun. That's like a Toy Story version. And that's pretty cool of a track. Big Blue, you've already eliminated as an F-Zero track.
Gone, sorry.
Coconut Mall from the Wii. I'd say that's probably, aside from the DK Snowboard Cross, the strongest Wii track. The Wii, I think, features quite heavily on this. I think there's, out of all the new DLC, out the 4811 are Wii tracks. But not a lot of them made him into my shortlist because they're all okay. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, didn't grow up on the Wii, but that was certainly the one I played the most when I was at university and things. And so I had a fondness for it. But a lot of the tracks are okay. Do you know what I mean? They're all right. So Choco Mountain from the N64. Do you remember that one being in N64?
No, I don't actually remember that one. I'm pretty sure it's one of those ones where if you sat it in front of me, I would probably be able to get around it on muscle memory.
Yeah, it is one of those ones.
I had a similar one with, was it Calamari Desert? Or something
that can fuck off.
where it was, muscle memory until they... In fact, that changes because they put you on the train track, don't they?
Exactly. That's not fun. Loop. Like, you're just bobbling along on a train track. I don't understand that bit. Like, it's like, oh, look at this little weird change we've done and put it on the train track. And I'm like, well, but why? It's not fun for anybody.
I have something on transformations and ridiculousness to come back to later.
So, Ninja Hideaway, that's one of the new tracks that they just put on. That was on the downloadable content. Very fun. Like, that's got a lot going on. And that is probably one of the only ones that I feel like there is a lot of square corners, but they give you enough width on those corners to be able to get drifting around them. But again, there's a lot to that in terms of there's a lot of hidden sort of like rooms and stuff you go through.
Shortcuts and stuff like that.
And a lot of like lifting on sort of air drafts and things. That it's really fun. And then Alpine Pass on 3DS, that is one of the ones again where I'd say it's probably the most generic one out of all of them, but again, a lot of verticality, and there's 2 really big gliding parts to that they've put into it, and that's a lot of fun. The gliding parts that is in, and there's one part where right at the end where you can get from going across the finish line, like when you're going around for another lap, and you can get really, really far and cut a massive corner off. And that feels like a massive achievement every time you do that. And that's quite fun because you do go over like edges that you shouldn't go over. But you can really get a massive lead on people by doing that and getting that skill down. So they were my sort of like my short list.
Okay.
Is there anything on there that apart from the F-Zeros that you're going to go, right, well, even though you're like, I don't give a shit about this.
No, I'm invested in this one to the extent that I can pitch you a top 5 and see if you think that works.
That'd be good, yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, right. You'll be wrong, but it's fine. So
okay, no, that's cool. All right, DK Mountain.
That's in, yeah.
I'm going to need that list.
Sorry, I was checking on the time.
Yeah, DK Mountain.
Yeah, that's good.
Melody Motorway.
Yeah, I think that's probably in there.
Rainbow Road. Yeah. Ninja Hideaway.
Okay.
And oh fuck. You know what? I don't actually have a top 5. I've got a top 4. Yeah. All right, fine. I'll let you have Big Blue.
Okay.
I'll let you have Big Blue in there. So the thing I know from that is that there is one Mario Kart 8 track in there.
What is there?
Yeah, one.
Oh no, it's 2. Oh, you mean your top 4? Sorry, yeah, okay, fair enough.
In that lot, there is one Mario Kart 8 track and there is one F-Zero track, and the rest are all from older Mario Karts.
Yeah, but 5's a very little amount to be
granted, but it just feels like we've made they've made a best of type thing.
Yeah. Well, I think they'd openly admit that.
Yeah,
do you not think that was the idea of it?
But it seems to me, from what we were saying earlier, if you're going to make a Mario Kart 9, you put some new fucking tracks in it. Yeah, like that's the easy win.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, out of my long list, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, even then it's like 4, 5. I mean, technically, and then obviously the F-Zero ones that are like different.
Yeah.
Call that 6 or 7 there. But so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna rank mine as well. I'm gonna go for number 1, make it a bit of a sort of anti sort of climax, but I need to go down with my list. So number 1, DK Mountain. I think that is just as I've already described. Probably no surprise about that really in terms of how the affinity I have for that track. Number 2, Mount Wario. Just again, I keep talking about it. It seems like anything, and I've just looked around here. How many of these are called Mountain or Mount? Or have snow on them, or go down a hill, or and they're the ones that I love because they just feel like they're the ones that it's almost like the Sonic effect. Like you feel like you're going faster downhill.
Is it not because of like Japanese drifting? And
probably.
Like hill racing and stuff like that.
But then they've put that really important part into Mario Kart nowadays, where you can still play Mario Kart without drifting, but if you want to be the very best that no one ever was, then you need to drift. And the feel that you get when you ping off, and to have. What do they call it? Like a super drift? Is it and then a turbo drift, mini drift, turbo drift, and ultra turbo drift? I think it is.
Right.
So you get like a yellow drift, a blue drift, and then you get to the purple drift if you hold it long enough. To get around a corner and get a purple drift out of it is very satisfying. That isn't it? And some of these tracks are the ones that you get that with. Really, Mount Wario isn't. That is in, but there's a lot of features going on Mount Wario, and again. That's one of those tracks that I quite like that I don't run them all the time, but where it's 3 stages rather than 3 laps. So you just like, it's constantly different. And the Rainbow Road 60 N64 is one of those. It's not laps, I don't think. It's just like 3 stages.
Yeah, that's what they did that was different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like, all right, that's cool. They've made that a bit different. So there is differences there. So I've got DK Mountain, Mount Wario. I think I'm going to go for... DK Snowball Cross as well, so that's another sort of snowy one downhill with lots of verticality and things. That's from the Wii. Melody Motorway I'm going to keep in there as well, which I don't think there is a lot of love for necessarily that I see out there, but that's like it's
distinctive.
Yeah, and they've got the drums that you bounce across and they make the noise as well. I'd say it's a brother to Waluigi Pinball, which is on there. Now that didn't make my list because Waluigi's a bastard, but. No, it's because that feels like I don't know. That feels tough and not as well made as Melody Motorway. Melody Motorway has if you drift round a piano or a xylophone perfectly on Melody Motorway, that's a great feeling. And then I'm going to throw in I think I'll throw in, to make for good podcasting, I'm going to have a think about it. I'm going to throw in Baby Park, with the anti-gravity bounce. Now, I know that sounds like ridiculous, but like I said before, it's the quintessential, just going to smash the shit out of each other and really do each other over. Yeah, and just like, you come around that last bend on the 7th lap and you've got a red shell in your hand and you've just smashed someone in second or whatever, and you're just like, going to get that person that's in first and stuff. Like, as in, that feels like proper Mario Karting, where you're just there to screw each other over and go really, really fast. So it's not the best track, but I want to give them a lot of credit for changing it that little bit more on this and thinking we've got something to play with here, and it just infinitely makes it a better experience. So, well done to them. So, yeah, they're my top 5 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tracks.
So you also only have one Mario Kart 8 track in your top 5?
Yeah, Mario, yeah. I think, yeah. But it's a high one. It's like sort of second on there. Yeah.
So talking of transformations and general ridiculousness, after playing a bit of Mario Kart, I was sitting there and I was like, what itch has this not scratched?
Okay.
Right? And I hopped on Cruising Blast.
Okay.
And that was that itch.
Yeah.
It's loud, it's brash, it's ridiculous. You go drifting around corners. There's no weapons. It's all based on, you're drifting or pulling stunts off ramps. Then you can fall through an ice sheet and past Yetis fighting each other. There are dinosaurs, stuff explodes, you have to dodge a tanker. It's this is what I fucking want.
Yeah, that is good.
And then we went back on Mario Kart and somehow it doesn't feel like it goes far enough.
Yeah.
With when it does transform or do something ridiculous.
That's a really fair point.
It feels somehow subdued. And so again, we're saying about, a hypothetical Mario Kart 9, I would like it to go further. I want more from it. And I know they can do it. And especially if, hint, tie it to Mario Wonder. And, you can get some ridiculous
got a Wonder
stuff.
Flower.
It's just I want them to do something absolutely batshit for the next one. And yeah, I'd be all over that.
Cool. So what would you give this game the ultimate, at the moment, certainly ultimate, deluxe version of Mario Kart that I feel like Nintendo sort of put,
a lot of
put a flag on top of it and been like, right, okay, look,
old tracks.
Yeah, we've given you everything that we have, or that we feel like we've got in our Mario Kart life. How do you feel about it now? You spent effectively 70 quid on it, effectively, or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What, do you want an arbitrary number out of 10?
Yeah, well, we have to give one.
So I would give the overall package 7.
Okay.
It's good. It's very good even. I can totally appreciate why people would love it. It's nice to look at. There's lots to unlock and all that kind of stuff. I've used the same Red Yoshi, Red Bike, Red Glider combination since the early days of playing it, and have never felt a need to change it.
I cannot go away from the standard car. It's making me feel uneasy thinking about it currently. I've done it before, but I mean it makes my skin crawl thinking about it.
I mean that's before you even get into the weird Mercedes stuff that's crowbarred in and all that kind of stuff, which feels weird.
One thing I want to say is you can play as Wiggler on this one, and
you can
having Wiggler sort of crunched into a car looks like he just needs help. Looks like he just needs a medical procedure to help him out. It looks like torture of some type.
Yeah.
I always play as Luigi as well. By the way, I say always. I've actually started to change away from that just to spice my life up. But he's my go-to, and that's who I played my 96 tracks through with it. And it's sad, but it feels like a brother to me. I've played so much Mario.
Warm hug.
It is. It's like Legolas and Gimli, as you much would like in Lord of the Rings. They just love for each other. As in going to the battle of Mario Kart. But I've not even talked about the battles that you can do on that. But they're pretty fun. Me and Oscar sometimes play those, little balloon battles and things.
They don't have the block forts from the N64 version.
Or
the donuts.
That's true.
Basically, I think my problem is that I liked the lame tracks from the N64 version, and I'm just inherently bad at Mario Kart, so I blame luck.
Yeah.
And I'm just salty because I'm crap at it.
No. I'm much better at it.
You are. No, you are. I remember you kicking my ass.
It's one. I always say that. I mean, it's easy for me to say, but I probably would hold my own against most people playing Mario Kart until you start get to the really, really hardcore gamers. Yeah. So
what would your score be then?
See, the thing is, right, okay, I really wanted to, like, after you gave Castlevania a 10 the other week, I was like, wow, that is in, like...
I was still playing Castlevania this week. I was still playing it.
We've got too many backlog games to play, stop playing Castlevania. You're like, never!
I spent most of my Saturday on it. And I'm very comfortable with that.
I had a great time.
I genuinely did.
That's the whole point of being a gamer, enjoying video games. Do what you want, do what you feel. And I was like, oh, is this my 10 out of 10 game? I must have one. And I put Loco Roco in there, but that'll probably slide out.
It feels like a placeholder now, doesn't it? If I'm being honest.
I don't know if it does actually, because it's really good. And in fact, Loco Roco 2's dropping in the mail soon. But because I got for £1.50 off eBay, I was like, what? But yeah, a 9 for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It feels like it is everything they can give me for Mario Kart. But then, like you just said, for example, when I play something like Wipeout or Outrun, on the Sega Age, for example, like when I play that, do I get the same vibe? I feel like Mario Kart chills me out, and I can just do it like the back of my hand, and I could just play it any time and just drop it and be like, yeah, it's great. But do I get like a thrill? Is this like the best racing game I've ever played and stuff, and is it the best Nintendo game I've ever played? It is very nearly up there, it's very nearly like the quintessential me game. But it's something is in where it's just like you said, it hasn't kind of got, and it's maybe just because I've played it so much and it's dulled off a little bit, but it hasn't quite got the zing it used to. And maybe I've just got old and shit at life, but it is still very, very good, and I'm happy with the value for money it's provided. And the DLC, I'm glad they've given me more tracks. I don't know if I needed them. I'm going to be honest. That's probably where I dock my point.
Looking at it. Yeah,
I don't know if I needed them. In terms of what turned up, I needed Donkey Kong Mountain to drop, and I needed DK's Snowboard Cross to drop, and I'm glad they did, but I don't think I needed...
A touch bloated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Cool. Right, well, thanks for listening to me just go wax lyrical about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for an hour and 15 minutes. We will be back with some more PSP, PS Vita chat next week.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.